The first thing, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the first thing mankind needs to understand is, as you know, ignorance is no excuse for breaking a law. And a numeric scale can only become numeric by validating by time. And what that means is that the present number has to conform to every number that came before it and every number that comes after it. So past, present, future. And although there was an issue on zero back in the Mayan days, because I just heard a blip on that, man adopted a numeric scale of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the problem is, zero has to assault itself so that one came before the other and to validate by time, and that equals numeric 0. And unless man can prove that they went through a official process, because you don't have to always show 0, 0. You can refer to it as 0, 1, 2, 3, provided you double audit it. And every concept of physics is a double odd domino, and it just repeats because everything triangulates. So the net effect of having a non-numeric numeric scale is every document reliant on numbering, every part number, are considered counterfeit. Because you used numbers as numbers when they are pencil scratchings. That's all they can be. That's it. 100 cannot validate 0 through 99 in reverse. And you have to make 0 numeric. And that's where you get 00.00. So, you don't have anything left. All your laws, everything reliant on a number no longer exists because you don't have any numbers. And that's the reason why substance, to all the nuclear powers, substance is not going to let you use periodic elements, reactive elements on a numeric periodic table when you have no numeric permission. Your nuclear weapons are counterfeit. Everything involving color and everything else is counterfeit. It's considered counterfeit. And the last thing any human wants to do is push a nuclear button, because substance knows I'm the screenwriter of existence. So, you'll find out what happens when you try to utilize numeric value that you did not earn. And since I soon will control substance, space, and time, you don't stand a chance. So, Sandra Bullock, I had already assigned all creative, intellectual, and physiological rights to every human on the planet equally. But I've now given exclusive control of everything and ownership to Sandra Bullock on behalf of the people. But she has no obligation to the people at all. She is in a position now, since she is the only one that has any marbles on the planet. And if you don't believe me and you want to challenge me, the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make things right for Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, because he is absolutely livid to find out that C can't be the middle of infinity. Time is inferior to infinity, and time can't run out of order, and C, D, E, F, G, A, B has no value to physics. It did not advance beyond creation. And everybody knows, let alone become infinite. Mankind knows the musical scale is infinite. but has no clue what that means. But C can't be middle. And you can make it right, though, because there is a secondary method to validate, Mozart's work and all the other great musicians. Otherwise, it's counterfeit, too. Music theory can't operate on something that can't be middle. And the musical scale had to spring balanced, and A had to come first. A had to come first. That's all there is to it. And there had to be 7 shared notes. And then the event is basically to keep on trucking. Just look at the Grateful Dead photo with the four boots sticking out. And imagine that as A, B, C, D. And out of the blue, C kicks B in the back of the head and makes it complex. And then comes down on A and squishes A. A is dead. Not a human on the planet realizes that, except for, and not even Hannibal Lecter, that we are carbon cannibals. We have to eat carbon. And it defies imagination, all the stuff that you missed. But the entire concept of this world, and let alone are you going to understand that in order that an element that is reliant on killing and consuming itself to incarnate, to reprocess and incarnate into a different version, can't survive the first dinner. It cannot expand. Carbon died right off the bat. Living carbon died. Living carbon had to die, just like Jesus had to die. It did not survive the cut, and A is dead. That's why it's called a rut. That's why it's called a rut. And musicians on the planet, Sandra Bullock, it is absolute. Because you didn't even understand the basic concept of the rut. And there's only 7 positions in music when you play an instrument. Otherwise, 6 is infinite. 6 is the only thing. 3 plus 3 equals 0, 6, or 12. It's the entire concept of music theory. You didn't get any of it. 636 to 16 is exponentiated, but 6 is amazing. The spreadsheets can't even handle 6. 6 exponentiates a billion different directions. It is infinite. So, this is absolute. Sandra Bullock, she was always intended to own all this. And she alone will decide if man is ever worthy, but she can opt out if she wants at any point and go into any bank. And hell, she should be able to borrow enough to buy the universe. She probably only needs 10. Man doesn't have anything of value. So if I was her, I'd just tell man I'll pay you 10 trillion and I just own it all. That way, there's no conflict. We're going to do it the way we want to do it. The moms are in charge. That's all there is to it. And to Sandra, she needs to understand that I am inferior to woman, and God is inferior to woman. And neither one of us could even come up with 2 breasts and a vagina, or reproduction, or anything else. So the only thing superior to woman is Mother Mary. And that's it. And this is my program, and we are going to follow the power. And every man on the planet needs to understand, I know what I'm doing. and you're going to be the big winner. So you can't have an ego anymore because I've proven everything wrong. You have to recall everything. Besides, in addition, you failed. You don't understand. Jesus is the one, and Jesus crucified the one, so dot 3 could become infinite, number 6, and defeat 4. You didn't understand that. You don't understand Jesus had to die first, but that's not first. The who came first is just going to blow your mind. But it's all owned exclusively. The church, you do not have permission to use Jesus any longer because you've desecrated. You don't even know what Jesus represented, and you let the Jews be persecuted when the legal theory of one says that Jesus was a people, so only he could crucify himself. And the Jews should have realized this too, but the church certainly should have protected the Jews. And you disrespect Jesus and what he represented when you persecute Jews that, as an operation of law, could not have committed a crime in the first place because a crucifixion could not happen. We are actually all continuous DNA, but, for now, only myself and Jesus are owned exclusively by the people. So, and you can't self-crucify yourself. And Kanye West and his wife, they're going to need to come to Tulsa because they need a little adjustment. But nobody is ever going to denigrate the Jews again. And that's it. That's all there is to it. The Middle East has been a whipping post for long enough, and it's over. It's just over. The Jews were chosen to endure. And now your day has come. The 7 circles of life has begun, and the Middle East needs to understand you are autonomous from everything going on with Sandra Bullock and in Tulsa, because all the answers lie within you. We are on the road to the resurrection. And so, Syria, the Taliban, all those people need to understand we don't have a problem because I created the template that represents you. I know what you are. And I know how important you are. And this is your time. This is your time because we're going to understand we're going down the road. We're going to be advancing forward while reliving our past and rewriting it because dysfunction isn't real. That's all there is to it. And there's only one person in charge, and of course my mom is right behind Sandra Bullock. But I don't want it back. I never owned it. I did all this for you. I also did it for Sandra as part of the radio wave, and apparently my guess is she just was a color that was just translucent. And if you want to try to understand what we are, everything begins with Heinrich Hertz, and I was shocked. I was shocked to come back to him and Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein has just been premiered in this with 2 elements in perfect opposition. Because all my theories, because that's my theory in a nutshell. That's a double domino. That's a divided highway. 2 elements in opposition, living in harmony or neutrality, separated by a line. That's it. That is the entire concept, and everything triangulates so it can retract just as easy as it can go away. And I kind of lost my train of thought, so I'm going to end that at this. But you're about to find out that Sandra Bullock owns Pure Magic, and her balance sheet now is infinite times infinite times infinite. She owns everything. And nobody's going to question, I guarantee you, nobody's going to question the fact that I am the accountant. And woman is, neither myself or God. And, God got numbers. God turned numbers into flesh. So, he is definitely a God. But nothing would exist without woman. Everything is 1,000% reliant on woman. And we are going to respect that. And to the men, women are supposed to radiate, and fat, ugly, wide butts, none of that. Dysfunction is not part of my program. And I'm hoping that Sandra Bullock will help me take control of my program, because I'm not going to let mankind pollute perfection any longer, because my program is about harmony and disharmony. And the thing on disharmony is, if you're in the key of C and you hit two sharps in a row, the disharmony ends because it becomes another key. And you have to transition back. But your disharmony can never go beyond. You can't dwell. Because even if you intentionally, hit bad notes or hit the wrong notes, you change the key so it self-corrects. Whereas in nothing organic, this is the most important thing you're ever going to learn. Nothing organic is capable of dysfunction, and nothing carbon would ever rant and rage about other carbon that are continuous in our DNA. So racism isn't real. There's nothing organic that can hate. And it certainly ain't going to hate something that is continuous with. We are continuous DNA as individuals. It is incredible what we are. It defies imagination. And this is so big that, I think every person on the planet is going to realize why. And I know my glasses are, kind of, anyway. So anyway, I'm hoping Sandra realizes that we've done this before. This is the second time around. And, okay. And just to finish up what we are. So I think science needs to understand that I've been kept intentionally obtuse on everything. I have absolutely no science background. I don't look up anything. So, but I was shocked when it came back to high note courage, but that's because of a 12-string guitar. So I'm not going to get into that right now, but that's even a bigger mess than the middle C, because you don't understand what double drop D means, or tuning a guitar. You don't understand the guitar. You just don't. You don't understand harmonics. Harmonics, the science of harmonics. All Neil Young needs to do is take one of his old recordings, try to sing it sweeter, and then play the volume, just like a 12-string. Play the volume, because, when you look at the 12-string, there is a gap between the strings. Because it has to be that way to create the harmonic. But every musician needs to do is, let me see if I can get the timing. Hit open, right there, A minor, full chord hammer. What you're doing is you're hitting in the present, and it explodes past and the present into a harmonic. What you're wanting to do is you want to lay the chord down. It's called a full chord hammer. A full chord hammer. You want to lay that hammer down at max vibration. You want to get that string, and then you lay it down and just go, whoa. I think even musicians will be amazed at the way I play, because Sandra needs to understand I can't dance. I have no rhythm. I just have no rhythm in that way, and I just can't dance. But my left hand mutes more than it plays open, and I tried to control it because it do it on its own. But it is amazing. It is like a gymnast because I'm doing these gentle hand mutes. I'm doing these full chord hammers, delayed hammers, and muting more than I'm doing anything. But I'm laying across the string. I'm just doing all the stuff, and it's just gentleness at the max, and it is complete opposite of what I am. So, unfortunately, you can't have everything, and it is really the hammer. It's a guncock. It is basically a guncock style, and I'm not aware of anybody that just do A minor, F. Now B minor is more difficult to hammer because you have to you're pulling off completely and come back on. You just keep pulling off and come back on. And you're just doing hiccups is all you're doing. And the delayed hammers, you guys will probably take that to an incredible, because man, they just sound so cool. When you can play a whole song with delayed hammers, it just sounds, it just twangs. It's twang. And all you got to do is just hit that open and come in hard on that, on any chord. G is a great one. But A minor, of course, is going to give you the max effect, because musicians probably don't understand this, but A minor on a hammer gives you 6 notes, 6 out of 7, and again, only 6 is infinite. And to the musicians, the way it works, the way it actually reads, and let's just for now use A as the middle, because the C middle is a lot more complicated than it appears, because there is a dot 3 involved in the frequency. And when you look at what the musical scale had to be and what it became, that's a pretty big mutation, because you're eliminating 2 positions while trying to maintain harmony. And not a musician on the planet even knows kind of occurrence was involved. But here's what happened when the universe, and Sandra Bullock owns this. She owns the rights to this. But when our universe expanded, and this was the last piece of the puzzle, and it just blow your mind. But I already knew, I'd already created the science of harmonics by replicating the copyrighted recordings of 256 artists and posting them on YouTube. And by replicating, I tried to match frequency, duration, and inflection. I basically tried to overlay their voice and create a harmonic. On the 12-string guitar, the 2 high positions are identical. So, although they can't be identical sound waves because there's a gap, so that's that creates a variable. The core, the purity core, is identical on both of those. And when those purity chords collide, the sound waves, those notes accelerate or enhance. That's why it sounds cool. It enhances into a harmonic. And on the low positions, and this it just took me a while to put this together, but on the 2 low positions, they are separated by gauge and octave. So that's quite a bit of separation when you look at the difference in gauge, but you have a diminished harmonic reaction. So the purity chords still collide. And what that says is the nth octave will react against the first octave on any frequency interval. And I think, C did not become middle until creation, which became later. But I think when infinity happened, some things worked in a reverse, and basically Sonny D, because the theory is that, after C kicked B in the back of the head and actually flattened and killed A, they didn't survive. A's a root. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, it is this whole thing just keeps expanding, and it's just magic. And in fact, another reason for Sandra Bullock and the moms is it can be dangerous. Too much magic, but it means nobody focuses. So we're going to have to control it. And the churches need to understand you are inferior, because you should have realized that you allowed separation of church and state to happen, knowing, when you should have known that carbon's only the builder, and somebody had to write the blueprints of creation before woman became self-generating. And woman needs to understand that no man could think of any of this. And it is my belief at this point, based on the fact that I understand there's 14 wild cards, and that my balance sheet is nothing times nothing times nothing. So it's nothing. Everything is nothing. And I lost my train of thought again. Anyway, okay.